This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. What's up? Joe Castello back with you. It's Friday. WFO. Time to go racing. That's right. It is Friday, and the NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series has been on track all day long. Open testing been going on at Lucas Oil Raceway, and we are going to connect with some of the drivers from Don Schumacher Racing. And I know if you're logged on, you're tuned in, you're looking for happy hour. You're like, happy hour, Joe, what's up with the beverages? And for all you know, I've already been enjoying beverages. That's all I have to say. But the bottom line is we're going to connect with drivers. We're going to talk real racing. It's a Friday in the motorsports world, and I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate all of our great sponsors talking about Marvin Rodak and Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com. That the hot sauces and the spice rubs, everything good. Marvin, my man, down there in Fort Worth, Texas. I say it over and over again. I'll say it again and again. You will love this. The Habanero Endorphin Booster hot sauce, all the great things that they've got. Coffee roasted fresh per your order. Give them a call, 817-924-6821. That's Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com. Also, Total Seal Piston Rings. Saw Matt Hartford on the track. We posted that on our Facebook page immediately. Hartford and the team out there from CIP1, and those guys are played like a solid pass to me. Piston Rings from Stock Eliminator Formula One. They can help you find that hidden horsepower. Check them out at TotalSeal.com. Give Keith Jones a call. Ask for him. Tell him you heard about it on WFO, and he'll get you all sorted out, Keith and the team there. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, FrankHawley.com. Go check them out. You can become a professional level driver like Ron Capps, who is going to be first up just seconds from now, or you could go on the Dragster Adventure and have yourself a whole lot of fun. And finally, samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed, samtech.edu today. Blockhead, CNC programs, motorsport, EFI tuning, all of that. Plus, we got a new Factory Stock podcast episode. Samtech Factory Stock Showdown coming up next week. But right now, let's kick it on out there for the first of a troika of guests from Don Schumacher Racing, and has been super helpful to us on WFO during the COVID crisis. Mr. Ron Capps. What's up, Ron? How are you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Okay, good.
Will you feel better if I put on a mask as well?
Reinhardt had one of those on a few minutes ago here, and I'm a little jealous, Joe. I think I need to get one from the next batch.
We got them. They're on the way. We gave them away. We only got a couple, and everybody wanted them. I had no idea. So you're first on the list.
Well, thank you.
So how'd it go today? Notice I took mine right off. I'm sitting there alone at home. You guys got to abide by the rules. Tell me what your day started out as.
Well, we warmed the car up, and I think we all kind of forgot even how to warm the car up a little bit. You go through a certain procedure, and it happens once in a while, especially off-season, the first time back. Believe it or not, you would think it'd be easy just to warm up a nitro car, but anyhow, once we got that out of the way, we went up there, we made one run to 400 feet, and came back, and Ron Tolbert looked at everything, said it was great, and we loaded it up. So I have not even been to the finish line like some of my teammates have today and yesterday. So I'm a little apprehensive. I'm a little excited. Tomorrow's going to be good weather. It's going to be a little warmer than today. If you can see, I'm here in the pit area. Had a lot of clouds today. It actually was threatening some rain. So conditions have been pretty good. But it's going to be hot tomorrow, and it'll be hot Sunday.
Okay, let's try something. Because the mask makes everybody want to yell. So
I don't have to yell?
I don't know. Let's try regular talking. Let's try that.
Okay. How about this right here, Joe?
I think that's perfect.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
We did a live audio.
Right.
I don't mind doing that.
Okay, let me do a little Reader's Digest version of what I just said, but I'm going to do it in a normal voice. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. I screwed up warming the car up. We finally got in the staging lanes. We made one run to 400 feet. Ron Tolbert was very happy with it, and we loaded the car up right there in my rig, and we were done by 1 o'clock.
That's awesome.
It's awesome, but it's not awesome, because I would love to go past 400 feet. So we're going to see what happens tomorrow. Lauren from NHRA. Most of the stuff you see from NHRA, there's Lauren there.
Hey, Lauren. Oh, I love Lauren.
You know, yeah, we all love Lauren. She does a lot of, so we're doing a lot of cool stuff for the fans, shooting some videos, and I'm just kind of hanging out watching all these other guys and gals get to go to the finish line. I'm a little upset about it deep down inside. So for you guys watching tomorrow on FS1 and Sunday, just remember I have not been to the finish line, and fingers crossed when I get up to do my burnout. Please, everybody cross your fingers. Everything goes good, and I make it down the finish line.
Ah, there you go. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you to do that. But I have confidence, Ron. I guarantee you, to be a race car driver, you're going to be fine. When the time for competition comes, you'll be fine. But since you mentioned it, I know people want to know, like, when you messed up warming up the car, like, what does that mean? Like, what happens? How do you mess up?
Oh, it's nothing bad. We joke with Tobler because he's done it a few times. And it's just we go through a procedure. They start the car. One guy starts it. They check each magneto. You go through a certain situation where I check the reverser, make sure it goes into reverse. And then we check all the pipes and make sure they're all good, and the fuel pressure, all little things like that. And we do it in a certain order. And when you haven't been in the car in a while, Tobler has gotten to the point where he's forgotten things like preseason testing. We laugh about it because he gets all flustered. Well, it was my turn today. It wasn't bad, nothing bad. Obviously, the car went up and ran great. It's just something for the crew guys to make fun of me a little bit for the next couple of days, and it's all in good fun.
Well, that's good, though. You guys want to forget the preseason of this season. I would imagine you guys had that fire. You were fighting from behind. It was not the start you wanted. If there's a team that loved the reboot and the feeling of starting fresh right now, it's probably the Napa team.
Yeah, I mean, we ended it's a little windy. I'll go over here.
That's fine. Go take us wherever, man. You got good cell service?
Yeah, everybody wants to see what the pit area looks like. We got JR Todd.
All right.
We got the whole Coletta row. And then from my trailer, look at that.
There's Ron. They look good there, Ron. No mask.
I was gonna pick my nose. But anyway, see, cars are still running. And this is Schumacher Road. Now we have Tony Schumacher back and Corey McClanahan. That's Schumacher Road. From here, believe it or not, from here all the way down to there is all Schumacher. Crazy, huh?
Yeah. Well, the extra cars. We spoke with Antron yesterday. He was fired up. And this is a special race because you're bringing the sport of drag racing back. It's going to be on Fox Sports, NHRA.TV. We're all going to be watching. But part of the bigger story, which is there is going to be a championship on the line, and we don't know exactly how many races. We don't know what it's going to be, but every round counts. No countdown. And so everybody wants to have a fast start.
Yeah, and fingers are crossed pretty much to every race we're going to. I've talked to Christy and Brainerd. I watched the court hearing on the airplane yesterday from Vandermeer's. Sorry, can you hear me over that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great, by the way. Your audio is incredible. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm surprised you can hear me is more of the challenge.
Yeah, no, I got you. There's a Facebook page called I Stand for Vandermeer. So I was on it on the airplane yesterday, both flights, and Vandermeer's had their attorney in there because they got supposed trouble for the 4th of July, which a lot of really close, hardcore fans probably followed along.
Sure.
So we're all worried about that's our next race now that Seattle was canceled. So I followed it, and the judge is going to take, I think, a week and a half or 2 weeks and look over everything, which was pleasantly surprising to us fans. So we'll see what happens. I would buy my Brainerd ticket or my Vandermeer tickets, Denver tickets. I feel good about it. I feel good we're going to go there. So, but you never know. So we'll just see what happens. But to answer your question, the championship is going to be, there's going to be a small little asterisk, or something next to it. It's going to be a crazy year. We'd love to be able to put that trophy up on the mantle and say we won that crazy 2020 year. It's strange not having John Forrest and Robert and that whole gang here. But just hope that they get through what they got going on and they can get back out here.
We love the sound effects. And if you're out there, a WFO listener on YouTube or Twitter, like if you love the sound effects, share the show with your friends. You can see Ron is smiling on there because it's giving us the feeling of being at the track. And it's honestly, I'm not there, as you know, and I thought I would be okay with it, but it's bugging me. It's bugging me a little bit, and this is giving me a little juice. It makes me feel good and bad about it, what's going down. The importance of this race, Ron, just bringing the sport back and everybody getting back together. Speak on that.
It's huge. I saw we all did a video for NHRA. It's up on NHRA.com, basically letting the fans know here's what protocol is going to be. I mean, please wear the mask. It's a pretty cool video with a lot of really cool drivers from out here and motorcycle riders. And I saw some of the responses on there. Even one of my hardcore fans had said they weren't going to buy the Kool-Aid. They weren't going to wear the mask, the whole thing. I'm going to get on and respond to that person, because it's either we do things this way to bring back NHRA Racing to our fans, whether it's on TV or whether they come out here, or we don't. And if we don't adhere to what's going on, they will come down and shut this down in a heartbeat. And everybody's been so good at, worked so hard at getting back out here with NHRA and the teams. And we think they're running top dragster. I think I had a 50-page DSR document sent to me. I had a 38-page NHRA document. I have so much information of things that we need to adhere to and really keep an eye on and really be strict about. You got to remember, we're in the limelight on Sunday, this Sunday and next Sunday on Fox Sports, on Saturday, FS1, and on Sunday on Fox Network. And it's huge right now. As we know, there's not a lot of sports on TV. So it'll be good for our fans to see us back out there, but to be negative about having to come back out here and wear this stuff, whether it's right or wrong, right now we have to do it. And the alternative is we sit at home. And I have 10 crew members that have little babies, and one's pregnant with another baby on the way. It's their livelihood and it's their job. And I want our fans to be happy, but I want our guys to have, a job. So we're looking forward to getting back out and have everybody do all this and do it the right way.
And if it's as simple as that, and like Mike is out there and Mike says, he's got a medical issue. All right, well, if you got a medical issue, then that's why we have NHRA.TV. That's why the show is going to be on Fox. If the show does well on Fox, maybe we get more shows on Fox. This is a critical time for drag racing. You guys put on a good show, and that really helps the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, we got the best fans in the world. There's a tweet going around that I was tagged in, started yesterday, and Chase Elliott, my Napa teammate, was in on it. And I realized again, how good we have it with our fans. But once in a while I get tied in with some of the fans that you have in these other sports. And it really put the emphasis on how lucky I am to have the fans that we have. And I'm not saying anything about other fans. It just, I want our fans to be happy to be able to see their NHRA drag racing, whether you're a fan of J.R. Todd or Matt Hagan or Leah, whoever it might be. And we got Pro Stock and Pro Stock Bike back out here. And it's a good time right now for NHRA drag racing. Let's not ruin it.
So let's get into some racing discussion. Like, you haven't been down the track. You've been to 400 feet. You only get 2 qualifying sessions. That is interesting and unique. There's 18 cars. So that first run, is that a slide it down, get in the show so you could try to step on it strategy? Or I know you guys are calculating these things. Like, how are you going to attack 2 sessions of qualifying?
Yeah. Ron Tobler, it may not be low AT a first session. Hopefully it is. But we're going to just get down the track. There's going to be, like you said, there's 18 cars here. That's 2 cars that are going to go home. Very well could be a big time, large sponsored team going home. You don't want to be one of them. Indy has always been a place with a lot of surprises in the past, whether it's U.S. Nationals or not. So you don't want to be on the bad end of that. And so we're going to try and slide it down there and be a solid run that we can come back in the afternoon. Tobler and I, we make such a good team, because we got great guys putting the car together. But when it really adverse conditions, it's hot, it's humid, and you got to dig down just a little more than you think you don't have, we find ways to win. And there's times when I'll wake up in the morning, Sunday morning, and go, man, I don't know if I got it today. I don't know if Tobler's got it with the car. We're close. And next thing you know, I'm talking to you in the winner's circle. So those are those races I love. And I love at the end of the day that, you got to question whether or not you have it, and then you go out and you do it. And I'm hoping to have a couple of those in the next week. This is the only racetrack I have not won at. So I've got 3 chances this year, actually. So
that's technically not true because you won the Big Bud Shootout and you won here.
I said that, but Lewis Bloom corrected me and said I really haven't. Those aren't considered races. We also won the Brainerd final round makeup with John Force. We won on a Saturday night right over here on this track. Yes. So I have won here 4 times. But technically, I've never won a race here. So once I do that, I'm not sure how many drivers have done that. And that just tells you the amount of talent I've been around, crew chiefs and crew members in my career, and owners, Snake and Schumacher and all these crew chiefs I've been associated with. 60-plus wins, but to win at every track would be amazing.
Well, we wish you the best of luck. I thank you for making the time for WFO. Not just now, like this is the run that we love to see. At that was fantastic. That was loud. But,
in stereo.
Yes, but you helped us so much with the happy hour shows, the wine night show, the Selzy show. That was stuff that we for a long time, and thank you for putting in the effort.
Love doing it. I love your show. I love your fans. You got a great fan base. I always got people coming over and saying how much they love me being on your show. So, yeah, we'll just keep it rolling.
Thank you, Ron. Good luck. Good luck tomorrow. We'll all be watching, and go get after it. Thank you so much. There he goes, Ron Capps, with us here on WFO Radio. How about that? Subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. He clearly likes being on the show, and I appreciate that. And it's we've been going for 10 years. For those that don't know, if you're new to the show, if you've never heard of WFO, it stands for Wide Freaking Open. And we've been doing this for a long, long time. Back to my XM satellite radio days, and we have the best drivers and the best guests, and they come on and they share all kinds of great information. And Caps has got his niche, and there is another funny car driver from the Don Schumacher Racing stables who has already had success this year at the Winter Nationals and has been quick and fast and came out of the box hot, and probably was not happy to see the big 4-month-long break in the action, and we'll ask him about it. He joins us now, Mr. Fast Jack Beckman. Now, you are also at the track in a different part of the facility. Caps was outside. Where are you?
I'm in my trailer, sequestered, surrounded by a giant plastic bubble.
I love that idea. I wish I had a giant plastic bubble to be in. But at least, you know, you're able to you have to wear the masks outside, inside your own trailer. You can do the deal. But what's it been like, Jack? Just getting back after this experience, you know, toughing it out at home. And now here you are. You're back. Jack is back.
Since I started driving for Schumacher back in 06, there's only one time we didn't off-season test or preseason test. So I was never out of the car more than a month and a half, except for 2018 going into 2019 season. So we didn't preseason test. That was a little over a 2-month hiatus, and I thought that seemed like a long time. This one was crazy. I mean, I don't know what it's been, 19 weeks. It was 10 times longer, and it was ridiculous to be away from a race car for that long. I know why we had to do it. I appreciate that. It just, as a race car driver, it's frustrating. And the wild thing is, when I drove up today and I walked into the pit, I swear to you, Joe, it was just like I left these guys 2.5 weeks ago in Phoenix. Like you just pick right back up where you left off. And I sat back in the car and I'm like, God, don't let me screw the warm-up up. And everything just falls back into place. Now, I had practiced this a lot in my head, but it felt so good to get pushed up into the water box and look down that Indy racetrack when that starter spun over for the first run. So we're officially back now.
That's exciting. You know, you came out of the box this year, big win at the Winter Nationals, but it wasn't even so much that. It was the back-to-back performances there and the way the car was running. And, you know, we go to Phoenix, then we go to the Gators, and we're feeling momentum. But then the story, everybody remembers the story was kind of coming on, and we were all tracking the story. And when we got the call on Thursday at the Gators, I don't know if you had already made it there.
I was there.
You were there en route. And it was just like this weird, hollow feeling like, really? What? Oh, okay. You know, here we are. We're doing this now. And yes, you were at the Don Garlits Hall of Fame thing.
And you were the MC. Yes.
And you saved the day by helping me out in a way that will remain secret between us. But Beckman saved me, guys.
But, you know, you asked that, Joe, that there was a lot of people that hopped on an airplane, flew out to Florida, only to find out the race had been postponed. For you and I, it wasn't an entire letdown because we had a purpose for being there aside from the race, which was the Garlits Drag Race Hall of Fame induction deal, which was great. I wouldn't have wanted to fly all the way across country, spend one night in a hotel, get a rental car just to do that. But whatever, it is what it is. And then we all got sent home, and I think we all figured we'd be back out in 2 or 3 weeks. And then we thought maybe it would be 4 weeks. And then it looked like it was probably going to be 10 weeks. And it ended up being 19 weeks. And then you get real pragmatic and maybe a little pessimistic. You think, well, maybe it's, you got these spikes, you got the surge, you got the valleys in the COVID. Maybe we're not going to get back out there. And this is reality now. Once I stood on that throttle for the first run, it's like, awesome, we're back to racing again.
And a very important time for the sport also. Well, I know you're a historian. You've been doing a lot of great things on NHRA.com. But Josh says, tell Jack I have his El Camino wheels on order.
And that would be my new weld wheels. I am so excited about that. Thanks, Josh.
There it is. They're on order. It's like the Beckman signature series, maybe for everybody.
Well, let me tell you, what would a hot rod be without spending some money on it, huh? But Weld's doing some cool stuff for it. It's going to be neat. The car was it's in this month's hot rod. In August 2020 hot rod, my El Camino. So check this out. You'll appreciate this, Joe, and I think the fans at home will like the story. This 68 SS El Camino is my first car. My dad bought it in 1979 from the original owner. They worked together at Lockheed. I bought it from my dad in 81. I was still 15. I took my driving test on my 16th birthday in that car. I made my first run down a drag strip in that car. I was stationed in New Mexico in the Air Force. I drove it 100 miles to Lubbock, Texas. I went 15:06 at 93 miles an hour on my first run. I still have the time slip to this day. And the car eventually went as quick as 10:15, 134, and then it sat. And it sat, and it sat, and it sat, and it sat for 20 some odd years. And then me putting it back as a street car got way out of hand. I wound up doing a frame off on the deal. Long story short, August 2020 Hot Rod Magazine. Okay, let's back up 70 years from there. August of 1950, my grandfather, while on vacation in Florida, they lived in Maryland at the time, bought my father his first Hot Rod magazine. My father was 13 years old when he was given that August 1950 Hot Rod magazine. I still have that Hot Rod magazine, and 70 years exactly down the line, my car's in it.
Wow. That is the numerology, the cosmic alignment to have that happen. I remember we spoke with Freiberger like the day after the shoot or the day of the shoot or something, and they were excited about that. So now it will be in the mag. That is very cool. Any other historic firsts for Jack Beckman happen in that car?
In my El Camino?
Yeah.
Well, remember, I was a young male in Southern California. You have drive-in movies. Come on.
Okay.
I used to drive the car to school. I mean, when I left for the Air Force, I was 17 when I went in the Air Force, and my folks had already divorced. I left the car in my mom's garage, and I wasn't going to be able to pick it up until after basic training and after technical school. So she had the car for 7 months, and I said, "Hey, Mom, fire it up every couple weeks, and once a month, take it around the block and blow the dust off of it." I didn't realize she took it to Van Nuys Boulevard and did some street racing with the thing. But my parents met cruising Van Nuys Boulevard, so it's kind of cool. And my mom's been gone since 1994. So that car had sat for years. It wasn't even at my house. Roger and Karen Comstock had stored it in one of their buildings. When it came back home, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I opened the glove compartment. I pulled out this little slip of paper, June 28th, 1982. It's my temporary driver's license. And then the memories just started flooding back. At that point in time, I just remember watching my mom sit in the car, all my buddies that had gone different places with me. So it's not so much a vehicle. It's a 3,500 pound memory machine to me. And there's no way I could ever get rid of that car.
That is amazing. And we got it on the screen right now, but it's not going to be the same until we see it in Hot Rod Magazine. So here we are going racing again. Points, important, no countdown. I know you like that. But winning this first non-U.S. Nationals, first of 3 in Indy, how are you going to handle the weekend? We just spoke with Caps. He says he hasn't been down yet. So what about you? Let's get us up to date on your testing here on Friday.
Well, so Don Schumacher told all the teams, you guys can make 2 runs, click it off at 660 or before. And I think that's a great decision. It's much cheaper not to drive the car to the finish line. And the reality is most of what you learn on a run, you're going to know by 400 or 500 feet anyway. So our first run, it spun the tires at 300 feet. Second run, it went about 550 feet and spun. That's super easy to tune around. But remember, this is the same back half that won the finals back in November, the Winter Nationals in February, and went to the finals in Phoenix, but we front half the car. So that was a first run for this configuration car. And some folks might think that's crazy to do that to a car that had ran so well. Well, normally we think we could have kicked that down the road until maybe when the Brainerd race typically falls in the schedule, and then you'd have a couple of weeks to front half it. But with this new condensed schedule, we don't want to get caught with a car that might be already a little long in the tooth. So we thought it would be prudent to go ahead and do it while the shop had the time. And I think the proof is our car had good numbers early, and when it spun the tires, it's far enough down track, we can sort that out for tomorrow. So it's not going to be business as usual. You say, hey, you're back to the races, here we go. Well, when have we ever tested the day before a national event at the same track? That's not allowed. In fact, I think the last time it happened was almost 50 years ago when Goodyear did tire tests here before the Indy race. That's what Brett Kettner said in 1971. So that's kind of unprecedented. Well, what else has changed? Tomorrow when we show up, there's going to be a very, very, very limited number of fans. What else is different? You only get 2 qualifying runs. And you've got 18 cars entered. So if there's 16 cars entered, once you stage a car, you're qualified. 2 people aren't going to qualify here, and you've got your qualifying cut in half. So it's going to be a slightly different approach from the tuner standpoint, slightly different approach from the driver standpoint.
Very interesting. Now, someone asked a question, and I do want your opinion. Like Keith wants to know, with fans being there, even though it is a limited number, are you concerned? And there's all these protocols in place, but you're used to a direct experience with the fans. You've been trained to do that. Hey, what's up? You're packing the parachute in front of them. You're talking to the fans. You're doing all this stuff. And this is going to be very different. So how are you untraining yourself from a 30-year drag racing experience to act differently so that we can continue through this schedule? Yeah, well, let me clarify. I didn't have to train myself. I'm kind of an extrovert, in case you haven't noticed. I love being around people. And I'm a touchy-feely guy. I'm a big hugger. And so I have to really be on my toes. You can't do any of that. We need to set an example at this race so that we're allowed to race here next weekend, so that we're allowed to go down the line to the other tracks when they open it up to the full fan attendance. And unfortunately, that means there's going to be some restrictions on the drivers and the crews. We're going to have masks on all the time. We're not going to be able to be in the normal proximity of the fans. So, I'm pre-signing a whole bunch of hero cards so I can hand them out to the fans. And it's going to limit some of that interaction. Fortunately, the fans still will be allowed in the pits. They can still come over, watch us warm the car up. This experience is all new to every single one of us, and I think it's going to evolve. And what I'm hoping is, as the racing continues on, the COVID numbers come down, and eventually we just go back to racing as it used to be. I like that idea. Now, Bobby Graham mentions that maybe instead of doing this interview, you should be on the practice tree, because it was well publicized that you recently lost a wager on the practice tree. And I remember seeing that in your driveway, I believe it was. Wait a minute. Is he talking about losing to my daughter in a race? That's exactly. That's not a practice tree, dude. That was a real race. She whooped my butt. But she is my little girl. Did you guys notice, too? She was wearing an Antron Brown crew shirt. We were keeping it in the DSR family. That is great. But what is up with that? Like, you're getting beaten. Like the first race back, you lost. Well, hold on a minute. If you see the whole thing, she's got 2 horsepower and her legs are pretty damn stout. My son Jason could barely push my fat butt in my little cockpit deal there. So I think we had 2 strikes against us going up there. No, I get it. But I think that we've seen during this, it's 4 months, everybody really be creative to keep the fans connected to this experience. The racing sells itself, right? Tomorrow you're going to go 320 something miles per hour in the heat, greasy track. You're still going to go super fast. It's going to be amazing. That part is easy. But when there's no racing, how to keep people connected. And I think the sport of drag racing, guys like yourself, Cap, otherwise here at WFO, we knew we got to keep these people interested. We got to keep them warm. And you did a great job with that. Well, I'm not really a social media guy. In fact, I just finally figured out how to post on my own Facebook. I still have to rely on my friend Nikki to
to take the stuff I send her and put it on my Instagram and Twitter. But bit by bit, I'm chipping away at this. So I've tried to be better about responding to people. And then I got sucked into this rabbit hole of drag race history publications. I was given a whole collection of drag news by a friend of mine, Rod McCarroll, that everything from 55 to 78. And he was missing about 160 issues. I've been able to fill in about 45 of those. And then I thought, God, what am I going to do with all this? And Matt Ambrosiak works for one of the agencies for Dodge. And he said, you know what? I bet you could film some of this stuff and we'll help you with the editing. And so we alternated between Dodge Garage, my Facebook, and NHRA.com. So there's 10 episodes out there, and it goes from the beginning, really from 1949, 1950, and I'm going to wrap up in 1960. I'm almost done with my research. When I get home early next week, I'll spend some more time on that. Then when I get home from the next Indy race, I'll film the last two segments, which will be 1960, and then I am done till the off season. It's been rewarding. It's been incredible as a fan of the sport and a historian. I have phone conversations with Don Perdome, Don Garlitz, Ohio George Montgomery, Roland Leong, John Rasmussen, all these guys that are just legends and I completely have looked up to for my entire adult life. I literally get to call them up and pick their brain. Tommy Ivo and I are emailing back and forth at 1 a.m. He's sending a picture. That guy took photos of everything. He was so professional. I'll ask him, say, listen, in 1959, when you built the twin engine car and you sold Perdome your single engine car, he sends me all the pictures of what was going on at that time, where the cars were being worked on, his first tour. It's been more than I ever anticipated it could be. It's been way more work than I thought it was going to be, and it was 10 times more rewarding than I expected.
I can imagine. We did a little minor taste of something like that. I spoke with Ed Pink recently for the Hidden Horsepower show, and that just like blew my mind, telling stories. And we spoke with Kenny Youngblood on our happy hour show, and he talked about that era as well. But you mentioned TV Tommy and all. But okay, so take that information now and answer me this. Does it make you feel, I love that sound. Does it make you feel a little...
You can't get enough of that, huh?
No, it's great. But does it make you feel like a little anxiety about the future of the sport? Like all this great work and history and all these things happen. Like, you're a surfer. Surfing is going to go on forever, right? Surfing.
Sure, as long as there's waves. Yes.
As long as there's waves, there's going to be an ocean. There's going to be waves. There's going to be a human with a board. Surfing is going to go on forever. Well, drag racing is a little different. Comes from that same area, the same root, maybe the same spirit kind of, but it's different. All those guys and girls that push this thing to this point, and you've taken the ball and you've run, and now you're here and we're here and this is what it is. Man, it makes me feel a little bit of intensity about really trying to make sure that the next generation understands, and you're working for that, but understands how significant this sport is.
I don't think you have to know who Babe Ruth was to be a great baseball player. I think if you truly want to appreciate and respect the sport of baseball, you need to understand the history. And I think the same applies to drag racing. I think that that not knowing who Art Krisman was, or Jack Krisman, his uncle, is not going to affect your reaction times. But I think to truly immerse yourself in what drag racing has to offer, to understand where it came from, why it evolved to what it is, and most important, the people and the cars that made it what it is. You got to go back a little bit, and you got to hit the rewind button and see what happened. So hopefully my video series, it's real. My mother-in-law said, man, I didn't get it. It was a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of statistics. And I said, I appreciate it, but recognize you're not my target audience for this. My target audience is people that want to know more about the sport. Or give you an example, Gary Densham, one of my good buddies in the Hall of Fame. He called me one day and he said, wow, I am addicted to this. When's your next show coming out? And that's what keeps me fired up and makes me want to spend the next 20 hours researching the next episode, is that there's people that are watching it that are getting something out of it. That a lot of whole gee whizzes, I didn't know that happened, or I didn't know cars look like this. So I didn't think it was going to be this much work. And there's no other time in my life that I could have done this. I mean, it was just serendipitous that Rod McCarroll gave me all these publications. Then Don Hampton said, come over and get all my stuff. And then I went over to Bob Moraviz's house and he had a few. And I went over to Lana and Steve Chrisman's and they had a couple. And these are all people that are iconic to the sport. And I think I want to pay my dues. I want to do my part to ensure that the history is available to people. And not a lot of people, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. A lot of people aren't necessarily big readers, but they'll click on a video and spend 10 minutes watching that. So maybe I just gave a different portal for people to educate themselves.
All right, where can we see all this?
It's either on Dodge Garage or NHRA.com. And you go to NHRA.com and just type in Jack Beckman history, and it'll have links to every single one of them. And Dodge Garage has done the same. So it's DodgeGarage.com.
That's great. I appreciate that. Even me, I do a fair amount of reading, but I do a fair amount of working, and I'm in so many different areas, and to be able to learn something with a small time investment because you put in a large one, that's right up my alley, Jack. Good job.
Well, and you know, I got to thank Phil Burgess and Bob Fry and Brett Kepner. They are my phone of friends on this stuff. When I'm not sure about something, and I'm not sure about something a bunch, and I got to tell you what you don't realize unless you're going down that historian path is there's a lot of stuff that's wrong. Even in period pieces, an article about something, they get numbers wrong, they get names wrong. So you really got to do your best to corroborate. And I try my best to paint an absolutely factual picture. And if I'm not 100% sure, I will say that. But it's been an eye opener. I went to drag races in the 70s. I knew the 60s were awesome. I did not realize the 50s were so badass. Just amazing what was going on then.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to watch. Can't wait to see. All right, real quick, how you attack qualifying tomorrow. 2 sessions, 18 cars. First run, what's the plan?
Well, first you look at the weather forecast. If you don't get both runs, you got to get it to the finish line just like it's race day. And first run, your goal is to qualify high enough that you're not chewing your fingernails off for the second run. And if you qualify better on the first run, you run later in the second run, and you really get to know how hard you can swing for the fences based on that. So we need to get it to the finish line on the first run. We don't necessarily need to shoot for the 3 bonus points, or do you? Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, remember, with no countdown, that means there's no reset. That means every time you get 3 points, if you do that 7 times, that's a whole extra round you've gained on somebody. I'll leave that thinking portion of it to the crew chiefs. I will be in clear discussions with Medlin and Antonelli about whether they want me to pedal it on the first run. And we never pedal the car on the first qualifying run, but better to think of it like the third qualifying run, because you're only going to get 2.
Very interesting. Jack, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I'm stoked about this weekend. You're going to be entertaining me all weekend, NHRA.tv, and of course, Fox Sports. This is a big time. The audience, you would think, people sequestered at home, people hanging out at home are going to be watching NHRA Drag Racing, watching these cars, maybe some for the first time. I wish you luck. Thank you for coming on.
Always a pleasure, Joe. I hope we talk again in 2 more days, and I got a great big smile on my face.
That's it's up to you. Back to a winner's show. I don't even know how to do a winner's interview anymore. I'm going to have to figure that out. Jack, thank you.
Well, take care, guys. Thanks.
There he goes. Jack Beckman with us here on WFO Radio. Fast Jack. And how about that? Like, that's there's a couple of things that irk me a little bit about this sport, in that the history is there. You got to go find it. But the stats, right? Like, we can go back and find stats for baseball. Those have all been calculated and posted, and I can go to a website and find them, and it's easy. And I would love to be able to driver versus driver, and that's being put together and sorted out, et cetera, and so on. Over the past few years, it's evolved greatly. And so to have people understand the history has to be easily read and available to everyone. Not in a folder in someone's back room somewhere because they kept it for themselves. It's got to be available and out there. And I think people are starting to realize, man, people getting older. We got to get that stuff out there. We got to post it. We got to put it up. We got to talk about it. It's got to be out there. Good job, Jack. Thank you very much. All right. And the final of our troika of funny car racers from Don Schumacher Racing has also joined us on WFO during our happy hour show. Mr. Tommy Johnson Jr., driver of the MD Anderson funny car. TJ, what about you? Where are you at? Oh, he's frozen up. He's been down there getting ready, and now he's frozen up. We're going to hang tight with it.
In the parking lot, man.
You're in the
parking lot. After a long day.
Which car are you in? Which is that?
Oh, my truck.
Oh, all right.
Big four-wheel drive truck, man. Yeah.
I was hoping
I don't
you
have the Hellcat anymore. I had to give it back. Now Jack's driving it.
Is it the exact car, though? Doesn't he get a new one, or you had to actually...
No, he got his own.
All right. Because that would be weird, surrendering your car to Jack. That would be a little weird. So what about you, Tommy? Tell me about your day of testing today. We kind of got the feel that you guys were each able to make 2 runs back to back and not really go full track. But what'd you learn? Knock the rust off? Feel good? Give me that.
Yeah, it was just good to get back in there and just kind of get a familiar feeling for it. I mean, it's like first day of testing, on preseason any year. So we had a new body on the car and some different mounts for the parachutes. And first burnout, the parachute fell out, so we got that out of the way. And that's kind of what today was for, was to get some of these little issues out of the way, because tomorrow, like Jack was talking about, 2 qualifying runs, that's so important that you can't afford to have mistakes. So to get those out of the way today, get all the bugs worked out, and go out and make a couple hits, kind of saw some things, that we need to address overnight and to fix for tomorrow. So I think we'll be good to go.
So Jack mentioned it, and Caps mentioned it, and I want your opinion. First of all, for you might be a little different because you started a whole new trade during this period as a home remodeler, right? So I don't know. Did it feel weird to not pick up a hammer today and instead put on the driving suit to get back into the race mode?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did feel a little different. You had to flip a switch and come back, do something different. So it was a little different than normal day I've had for the last 4 months, and I wasn't building anything out here. I was just, had a steering wheel in my hand instead of a hammer. So it was a little different, but it all comes back very quickly. It's amazing how fast thing comes right back. I mean, when we did the first warm.
Oh, he'll come back. It'll work. We just got to hang tight, and we'll be rewarded with our patience. Tommy Johnson Jr. You see, I can't damn my radio. There he is. He's back. You froze up for a second. You froze up for a second, but it's looking really good, I got to say. And the beard being gone, what do you do with that? Do you keep it? Do you throw it away? Did you put it in a bag? What do you do with that?
Now, my wife made me throw it away.
Good.
Yeah, she wasn't that big of a fan of it, so she was glad to see it go. I was ready. It's been very hot and humid around here in Indy this last couple of weeks, so it was time. It was time for it to go. That maybe is a winter project next winter again, maybe.
Got it. Okay, so since we were finishing up on the home construction thing, for the WFO audience who maybe doesn't follow your social, all the things you did, like you don't have to go into detail, but just rapid fire the list, because I think it was an outdoor portico, a kitchen, like you did a lot of work in a short amount of time. Yeah,
I did. I started off by making some cornhole boards, and then it went to remodeling the kitchen, and then I had the basement. Some flooding in my basement, so I had to rip all the drywall out and redo the floors and a new vanity down there. And then I did about 80% of my kitchen remodel, built the pergola out back. I built some dog ramps for a friend of mine that needed some dog ramps. And man, I'll tell you what, I put dog gates up this week on my deck, and we had this little kid gates, and they weren't working well. So I built actual gates that look like the part of the deck. And coolers, I built some coolers. Outdoor patio coolers. I mean, you name it. I did it. I built a lot of stuff.
Okay, what was that? Let me psychoanalyze you here. This is what this is. This is psychoanalysis. A person who is a hardworking, determined, grinding type person who's always working and trying to accomplish is not able to go to work. And so that energy was like bursting out of you, and this is the work product of that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not much for sitting still. I'm not a person that can just sit and watch TV and eat potato chips all day. I need to be moving and doing something, be creative and build something and feel like you accomplished something, So the more I built, the better I felt. And I just kept taking on projects. Like I said, I ended up building stuff for other people that I ran out of things to build for myself. So I started building for other people. That's awesome. All right. You're the most recent winner on the tour. You are the longest running, most recent winner in the history of drag racing, I think. Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, it's I don't think anybody's ever held on to a trophy that long without having another event for somebody to compete for the trophy. Yeah, it's crazy. But the point is, though, that you and JC had that thing figured out in Arizona, and I don't. I know it's tough to get going again, but that race, you guys were looking real good, and you were starting off the season hot. And to get that back, what's the talk been with the team? Has there been like a meeting, like, hey guys, we were good, let's get back to that and try to go out and seize this championship now that there's no countdown, which just is a little added thing that requires being good at the end of the season
at another level. You guys have proven that you can be steady all throughout. And so this is maybe a best chance to win a title.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. We're well aware of what the situation is, and everybody on the team is focused, and we're in a good spot. I mean, we start off the second half of the season, whatever you want to call it, in second place. So it's going to be a very good chance to do well in the championship. And depending on what happens, who knows what the future holds with everything, but you need to make the most of it right away. And I think these two races in Indy are very important to the points battle because, the future is uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. And the better you can do right off the bat, keep that momentum going and better yourself for the position of a championship. I said this is a year you might want to win the championship because I don't think anybody's ever going to forget who won the championships this year.
Definitely not. Now, there's been so much COVID talk these past couple of weeks and all, and I know everybody's burned down on it, but it's not burned out. It's going to do what it wants to do. And so we got to deal with it as long as we got to deal with it. And you're going to have some limited fans there, and they're being asked to do the right thing. And Ron gave us a whole understanding. He was wearing his mask that you guys have to abide by some specific rules as well. I know there are some fans that maybe aren't into the whole deal, but what would you say to those fans who, they want to see drag racing and now there's some new rules to deal with?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's tough out here. The only reason I'm not wearing my mask, I'm in my car by myself away from everybody and got the air on. I was a little warm. I just got out of the car right before I came over here. So I was a little hot, but it's a little tough and you have to get used to it. It's not as bad as what I thought it was going to be. I was out here today with the mask on all day long and, it wasn't quite as bad as I expected. And, a good example is, my parents are coming out to the race this weekend. My family's been involved in drag racing all their lives and it's what we do. And it's our passion in life is drag racing. And I've been very conscious of it because my parents are around and they're that age that they're in that category it's a dangerous category. And I don't want to take a chance on them coming down with it or me spreading it to them. So, it's a small sacrifice to have to do to protect others like that, especially your parents. And, if you want to come out here and come watch some drag racing, a mask is a small price to pay. I mean, it's not comfortable. It's not fun to wear, but it's sometimes we got to do some things we don't want to do.
It's right. It's not fun to wear. Like there's zero people that thinks this is like, let's do that.
I saw a lot of people today that are much better looking with a mask on. I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
One was me.
You got to make sure it's not over your eyes. Tommy, thank you very much. I appreciate, first of all, coming on the Happy Hour show. That was a great early on in the Happy Hour development. You came on, we had fun, and we got people through those Fridays and made it feel like it was the end of the week. I got so much positive feedback on that show in general, your episode in particular. Thank you for doing that, number one. And two, we had fun and we got through it. Now you guys are going to entertain with your real talent, which is driving fast.
Yeah, I still have people talking about that show, Joe. It must have been pretty good. It must have been a really good show because I still have people talking about that. So it was good. It was fun. We had a good time and you made the most of a bad situation and everybody got through it. And we were able to manage to have a good time and even some tough times.
There it is. And that's the only thing you can do. That is the goal. And Monica out there says, good luck to you this weekend. And I wish you good luck.
Appreciate it.
Well, had 3 DSR funny car drivers on the show. I know only one of you can win. Good luck and, make the Don proud. And we'll see you when, the tour moves on. And there he goes. We just lost him, but that's all right because we are done anyway. I appreciate Tommy Johnson Jr. with us here on WFO Radio. Now, Don Schumacher Racing has obviously made their drivers available to us on this Friday, and I wanted everybody to feel like we're coming back. This is it. We're coming back. And they put out a video earlier this week that I thought was really nice and well done, and I just wanted to play it for you right off their social media, Shoe Racing, and their Facebook page, and hopefully it'll get you hyped up for the start of the season because it starts right here, right now. This is it. It's time to go racing, and I'll be back on the other side.
To our Don Schumacher Racing family.
Our team partners, drivers, crew members, families, friends, and fans.
Thank you. Faster than a nitro burning machine rushing down the track. We found ourselves sitting on the sidelines,
while others continue to fight an unseen force.
We already knew not all heroes wear capes or fire suits.
To the heroes who've worked tirelessly on the front lines for our safety and our health, we say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We say thank you.
We've been idle at the shop longer than we ever have before.
We are not meant to sit idle for long.
But to our families, our friends, and our fans who have stuck with us during this difficult time, we say thank you.
Thank you for sharing your favorite track memories with us, for every video, every photo, every comment, and every like.
But it's time.
It's time to get back to what we love.
We are ready to fire up these 11,000 horsepower machines.
It's our hope to bring a bright spot to your daily life.
For a positive distraction.
And for victory for you.
Our race cars are ready.
Our trucks are packed.
We're geared up to getting back to what we love.
We have the best drivers.
We have the best teams.
We have the best parts.
We have the best cars.
We have the best fans that have stood with us during this challenging time.
Again, we say thank you.
We are with you.
We are DSR.
Let's go racing and have a great day.
There they go, DSR. Oh, I gotta add that back. They did a nice little thank you. Don Schumacher Racing, the whole employees. PR Ted was in there, right? When Ryan, everybody looked like they had been kind of, sequestered and eating a little bit, maybe too much, maybe. I don't know. I think that's a great message. Don Schumacher Racing doing a great job. Oh, look at that. Hold on. Stand by. Might as well. And there you have it. All right. I got a little bonus right there. Let me get rid of that. And there you have it. We've come to the end of this WFO radio show on a Friday. We got a little nitro blast right there with one of the global electronic technology cars. Had Antron Brown on yesterday. Antron was great, along with Kyle Koretsky and Chad Green, who will be running the Wilkerson Funny Car next weekend. I am working on the launch of the Samtech Factory Stock Showdown Factory Stock podcast. Spoke with Mark Powick, Andrew Skillman, and Scott Libisher. They'll be in action next weekend. Pro Stock has got 22 cars. Spoke with Kyle Koretsky. That's Kid Chaos, Captain Chaos, Kenny Koretsky's kid. And he's running a car for KB Racing. They're going to be great. And it's just been amazing. Now, those of you who have been with WFO, like maybe you're a first-time listener right now, and you're like, who the heck is this guy, Joe Castello? Maybe the first time. We've been podcasting in the NHRA for over 10 years and been doing NHRA-related broadcasts back to satellite radio for a long time. You can follow me at WFO Joe on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe to the podcast, of course. But normally on weekends, I work with the NHRA as a starting line reporter and top-end reporter and do a fair amount of announcing out there with the Lucas Oil Series. Lucas Oil Series not racing out there. They've got some Division 3 top dragster, top sportsman cars out there. But I'm going to restart with the series when we get to Denver. That's one of the reasons why Denver is so important. But it's very tough. It's been very challenging to lose all of these races, to not have the entertainment, not have the camaraderie with our friends and all these wonderful people that we engage with. And so through WFO radio and these live streams and the things that we have done, through the fact that we're putting the show on YouTube, and I know many of you have subscribed, working on getting 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So subscribe, click the bell. You can watch all of these shows on there, and we'll be creating some YouTube specific content real soon. It has been amazing. We innovated this. We are an audio only podcast, typically. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. We interview the winners, and people who are going down the road can listen to the show. But during this time when we're sequestered, we have innovated this. We brought it to at least our show to the next level. Others were doing this already. But now that I'm in one place and I'm trapped at home, I can do this. And you guys, the WFO listeners, longtime listeners, have done such amazing things with it, and I really appreciate you. We've given out more stickers than I ever thought was imaginable. I got to reload on stickers. And if you want some free WFO radio stickers, the address on your screen, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084, care of Castello Media /WFO stickers. And I will send you some WFO stickers to put on your toolbox or wherever you want to put them on your desk. You want to put them on your car. That's up to you. But if you want to rep WFO and tell people about this podcast and about this show, I would appreciate that. Also, WFO t-shirts, nitrofishracing.com. Had Kid Chaos running the Nitrofish car on the show yesterday. You go to nitrofishracing.com. You can get a WFO radio t-shirt. Pretty soon, they're going to have more WFO masks. Caps wants a mask. I might have to dig out a mask for Caps. He wants to wear, I don't assume people want my gear and just send him the stuff, right? But he asks for the gear. He's going to get the gear. WFO radio t-shirt. You can get 20% off at nitrofishracing.com, along with all the other stuff there. So if you want to get a huge order, by all means, do it to it. Final comments as we get ready to go racing. Like Chris Cummings says, great show. Thank you, Chris. Really appreciate it. Joe out there, part of the World League of Joes, having trouble getting his comment up there. Joe, thank you very much. Yeah, all Joes, we are all having secret meetings for world domination. You will learn eventually, all the Joes having a secret meeting. But thank you, Chris. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Joe and Monica and everybody. Tommy Johnson, Ron Capps, Jack Beckman, learned a lot, always learn a lot. But see, next week, it's going to be a little different because we're going to have winners. And that's what WFO is known for, our winner views. We have the Mellow Yellow Series winners every week. Now, how are we going to do that? I don't know. Because in the audio-only days, I can get the drivers whenever they're available. And I just interview, and then we put it all together, and then the show becomes available. Is this show going to go back to audio only? Maybe it is, depending on the availability of the drivers. I don't know. We're going to have to sort that out. Your opinion is, I'm interested in it. Joe at WFOradio.com. When I get back out on the road, it's going to be very, very tough, but we're going to do whatever we got to do. samtech.edu. For all you young kids out there, you want to get involved in racing, aerospace, fuel injection, machine shop, all of that, they can get you started. Class sizes of distance learning and class sizes of like 9 or less at Samtech. Spoke with Brian Massengill. We're working on Factory Stock Podcast. That's on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You should definitely subscribe and write a review. But it's all to educate you about samtech.edu. That's where the next generation is going to get going. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Speaking of Frank Hawley and Jack Beckman, he was an instructor there. See, I want to poke out over the top of the logo. And they have been longtime sponsors of us. Put it on your bucket list. Drive a dragster with Frank Hawley. Go to frankhawley.com to find out more information. It's great stuff. Also, Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Matt Hartford making runs out there. Chris Engelson can't make it. He's north of the border. One of their most important team members can't get in the country. For those of you in Canada, drag racers, drag racing fans, we're going to have to just work on getting you guys in here as best as you can. But TotalSeal.com, from stock eliminator all the way up to Formula One, they make piston rings and they can find horsepower for you. I've learned so much on the Hidden Horsepower show by Total Seal. It is also another podcast that we produce. Please check it out. Hidden Horsepower by Total Seal. And finally, Marvin Rodak. RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. He's a drag racer, drag racing fan. He'll turn wrenches, he'll work on cars. But the thing he does best is barbecue and roasting coffee, fresh per your order. I get mine full bean, and I got a grinder, and I grind it up every day. Actually, that's not true today. Today, I took a day off from coffee. You can probably tell. I took a little day off from coffee so I can hit it hard again tomorrow. But 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. Tell him what's up and that you love it. Also, I want to say big thanks to a couple other people that have been very helpful. Not both of these people, just the guy in the red and blue shirt, Jason Logan Mania. Every other Friday on the Happy Hour show, he and Courtney Enders volunteered their time. They went uncompensated. We got together and had a good time. All of those shows are in our archive on YouTube, on Facebook, on our WFO radio app. But Jason Logan and Courtney Enders put it all out there on the line, had a good time with us on the Happy Hour show, just for your entertainment to stay connected to drag racing. And I know Courtney is out there this weekend. Jason is in the same situation I am, but we look forward to getting back to the track and having a whole lot of fun. It's been tough. It's been a challenge, but now that is over and it's time to go racing. And the NHRA Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series is back in action, back-to-back weeks. Also want to say thanks to Alan Reinhardt. He comes on every week. but has done great things for the show. Brian Loans has been helpful. Mentioned Ron Capps, Dom Lagana, Ron Tobler, Kenny Youngblood, everybody who was Gary Selzy, everybody who was involved in that show. Chad Head for dropping the first F-bomb in the history of WFO. That was big. Thank you. J.R. Todd, Tony Schumacher, everybody. It's all in the archive. You can go back and find those shows. Share them. Check them out. Really appreciate all you folks. And it's time to move on. Moving on to the next thing. Thank you, Monica and Dave and Jim and everybody who's been a big help to WFO Radio. All right, race fans, you're headed out there. Wear the mask. Just do it. Like if you're like Joe who has a medical problem, I get it. It's not comfortable. It's not fun. But if you're a regular healthy person, you're going out to the drag races, please abide by all the rules so that we can have more drag races. It's as simple as that. And that's all I got. It's Friday. I'm going to go have my own happy hour. Remember, Fox Sports. That's where the race will be broadcast. And it will be on a couple of times tomorrow on Fox Sports 1. Have a watch party, a virtual watch party. Get your friends together. At the very least, get on Facebook and tell them something cool is going to be on. 330-mile-per-hour nitro-burning monsters of the NHRA Drag Racing Series. All right, everybody, that's it. Happy Friday. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio. Appreciate it. Appreciate you.